Morning, guys.
No, it's taking its time. Hang on.
Ooh.
Just thinking about it. The heat has got to the system. Morning,
Morning,
everyone.
my lovelies.
Morning, coffee moaners. And morning. We had a day off yesterday.
And you know what? It was fantastic. I loved it. We have moved the Sunday show to the Monday show, and it was really lovely. We just hung about all day, didn't we?
Well, actually, I mowed the
well, no,
garden.
we forced both of us did a couple of hours in the garden.
Completely transformed.
But then
the garden.
after that, we snoozed, we read, we
nice.
hung out, we ate, and it was honestly, how many years you guys have known us have we been saying we have to take Sundays off? Let's go old school.
Yeah. So anyway, so the Sunday show will be tonight.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock.
That's in the members area. Live Sunday show tonight. Maybe we'll cook outside because it's gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm very tired, so apologies. I'm going to be a little bit slow on the uptake. Nadia is literally firing 1,000,001 miles an hour. So if I seem a little bit slow by comparison, I do apologize. You're fired up, baby, and you're ready to go. So what are we doing today?
Well, you tell us in a nice slow way.
I can't.
Well, just do it in a slow way.
No, do it in your way.
You set the pace and I'll follow you.
No, you're being passive aggressive.
Well, you are. What is wrong with me? Every time I've got energy, you go, oh,
no,
you're flying at it.
You're going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, but it's annoying. If I'm in a good mood in the morning, that pisses you off.
No, it doesn't. It's not a good mood that pisses me off.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
It is not.
It's something
well,
else.
what is it?
Tiredness due to snoring.
Well, you introduce the show.
Tiredness due to snoring. We're going to be talking about Glastonbury's anti-IDF chant outrage, which all of the papers are leading with. We're going to be talking about Nadia is extraordinarily disgusted by the Bezos wedding. £50 million, is it? $50 million? And we're going to be having a bit of a chuckle at Beyonce, who got stuck in a car. And we've got lots of clips and lots of chat. So, of course, on Saturday night, we did a very late live about the dramas that kind of emerged from Glastonbury. And we're going to be picking that story up again and talking about it because it's been all over the press. We've got Wes Streeting talking about it. We've got Nick Ferrari talking about it. We've got the front pages of all the papers. So who sat down and actually watched Glastonbury? Did anyone actually sit down and watch it? Obviously, you couldn't see Kneecap. This lady here, I think, oh no, hang on, excuse me. This lady here, where is it? Helen Wilson from Swansea, she went viral on Saturday for live streaming the band set Kneecap to thousands online. This one woman, she held her hands in the air like she just didn't care. She must have got very hot. Anne Murray, you watched Rod Stewart. I heard some unfair criticisms of Rod Stewart. I didn't think it was particularly nice. But he managed to change his suit about 4 times, didn't he? So this lady here, this is about the genocide in Palestine, said Helen from Wales, who went viral for live streaming Kneecap's Glastonbury set. I was holding my phone in the air and there was very quickly around 7,000 people watching. The live stream accumulated over 1.8 million likes and has since been seen by thousands more as it was reshared on other platforms. Kneecap also acknowledged her efforts, describing her as a legend in one of their posts. So you watched Rod Stewart? Kneecap is up on the BBC iPlayer now. Says, oh, is it, Zoe? Did they trim it out? Did they cut it? Did they cut anything out? Reese Roberts, I did watch some sets. Dochi, Loyal Kana, Ray, Francis Monroe, Pulp with the kind of surprise band, weren't they? You're absolutely right. Pulp were apparently brilliant. They were never really my cup of tea, if I'm honest. Pulp. Free the Fulton 8, Palestine action are not terrorists, stop arming Israel. That's Abby Reid who said that. We could be facing the criminalization of Palestine action today, actually. I've just realized it's the 30th, isn't it, that they said they're going to do that. Amy, I watched the Pyramid Stage yesterday. Rod Stewart, Lulu, and Ronnie Wood. That was kind of curious. Who else did you all watch? Do you get the same hit, though, watching it at home? Neil Young, Rod Stewart, says Lynn Sheard. Gone off Rod Stewart, Enoch Powell, Reform UK supporter, says Me Too. And yet at the same time, he was kind of critical of Trump. So it just shows that politics can be very, very confusing. Caroline Hutchins with a Prodigy play. I didn't realise the Prodigy were playing. In 1975s, they were very good apparently on Friday. Olivia Rodrigo. I'll link it on my gram. Alanis Morissette. God, that was a blast from the past. So yeah, did you watch any bands, Nat?
No.
None?
Not a single one.
Anyway, so the big drama that we talked about on Saturday night was, sorry, let me just pull this down, was the drama surrounding a band called Bob Vylan. I'm just going to show you the front pages of some of the papers today. We've got this in the Mail. BBC chiefs should face charges over Glastonbury. Outrage led by Keir Starmer grows after broadcast of vile death to Israeli soldiers chants. Hate speech rapper must be treated like Lucy Connolly, says the Telegraph. Police told not arresting Bob Vylan frontman over death to the IDF chants would be clear example of two-tier justice. If anyone's wondering who Lucy Connolly is, she's the woman who posted on Facebook about burning hostels and chasing refugees out of the country during the Southport riots, and she was imprisoned, I think, for like 14 months or something like that. So of course, the right-wing press are saying we need to get a scalp too. They're trying to draw an equivalence.
So, first of all, nobody should shout death to anybody, right? Let's be clear before anyone can get their knickers in a twist and say that we're supporting anything. Just don't do it. You know, don't do it. Obviously, emotions are running very, very high, and a lot of young people are feeling very motivated at the unbelievable double standards and lecturing that comes from various governments across the world. Again, you should never say death to anyone.
No.
But as Mark and I said on the live that night, and I can tell you this, I was incandescent, or was it yesterday? I can't remember. Incandescent with the speed with which everyone responded. Politicians, newspapers, online newspapers. It was an outrage. It was yet another slap in the face to the thousands upon thousands of Gazans that are being starved, that are being slaughtered, to the mothers that are sitting watching their newborn babies die in the incubators because the milk that is 5 minutes down the fucking road isn't being allowed in. It was a disgrace. One after another of these pompous gits standing there saying they are outraged. I haven't heard the word outraged from any of this lot, Keir or Dave. Outraged? You haven't been out. It's wrong to shout death to anyone, okay? But I haven't heard them being outraged about, and I always have to say children, because if I say men and women, there's no one listening, right? But they're equal. But you're not, you haven't said you're outraged that mothers are watching their babies starve to death in the only democracy in the Middle East has the milk, and they won't hand the milk over. So that's why every time one of them gets up and says, let me be clear, we are outraged. Every damn newspaper that's outraged by this with the top of their headline right across. Are you outraged, the Telegraph, with babies dying? Are you outraged that in Gaza, we have the largest cohort of children that have had amputees, not because they needed to have their legs and arms amputated, but because there simply wasn't the medical infrastructure to help them. A course of antibiotics. Every single hospital in Gaza has been attacked. Is anybody outraged out there? Our politicians that we put in there, that we pay, are any of you outraged? The Telegraph, the Sun, the Mail, where's your outrage before you stand back pumped up with your self-importance and your idea of what's right and wrong, preaching to us and preaching to young people that are going, what the hell is going on, and what is the right way to behave? How dare you? How dare you not also be outraged?
Entirely agree. Entirely agree.
Out fucking outrageous. Don't you try and distract us. from the fact that we are still arming Israel, that we are training IDF. The day before all of this, Herat's newspaper brought out an article with multiple IDF soldiers saying, whistleblowing, that they are being instructed to shoot at starving, exhausted, dehydrated, broken people as they come to get flour. Hey, anybody outraged? Telegraph. Did we see that on your front headline? No, because you're racist. You're racist. If you can't be upset with what is going on, you have to admit. You have to admit, all of you that are outraged by this are racist. I don't care.
It is. It is simple racism. I mean, MeToo makes an interesting observation. In writing this headline, the Telegraph is basically supporting someone who's calling for the death of refugees. If you're saying hate speech rapper must be treated like Lucy Connolly. I mean, we have such a corruption and a mess up here because we are these publications, the mainstream media, the government, which are now one and the same thing. Any kind of spurious fictional idea that a Labour Party was going to be anything different to the status quo that has been in this country for however many years has gone out the window. You know, what they want us to be more outraged about are the words of a rapper
that were wrong.
That were wrong.
Don't say it.
Yeah, but hang on. But let's also just pause for a minute in the coverage of this story. Every right-wing paper has said that he called for death to Israelis. He didn't. He didn't. He called for death to the IDF. Even Nick Abbott on LBC last night was talking about what has happened to the long historic tradition of protest music, protest songs, where music, comedy and performance has a certain kind of cultural kind of leeway to be able to, that's the point of freedom of expression. That's the point of the arts. If you want to come back at it, do a rap in which you say something opposite, but don't come at necessarily the BBC, Glastonbury. I mean, Keir Starmer has asked the BBC, why did you do nothing about what you showed? And I can't remember, someone made a comment underneath something we uploaded and said, that's like saying, BBC, Glastonbury, you need to know what people are thinking and feeling at any point before they think or feel them to make sure that they don't come out.
Is that mind control?
Is that mind control?
Is that what they're after?
It feels like
I've got to know every single thing that you say.
Talk about freedom of speech. The right-wing press clamoring for freedom of speech when it's only their freedom of speech. And just to sort of kick it to the back of the net, what Nadia was just saying about the characterization of young people. This is the front of the Daily Mail this morning. Glasto Waste Mountain, the mountain of rubbish and hippie crack canisters left by virtue signaling Glastonbury crowd.
What are you going to do when this generation grow up? Because none of them are going to look at your papers. You're disgusting. And you lot, you're all after not listening to anything. You slag off Greta Thunberg every chance that you get because you don't believe in saving the planet. Oh, and now you're suddenly worried about the excess rubbish.
Yeah. I'm just going to show, for those of you who just come to...
The hypocrisy we're having to listen to every day, like we're all fucking stupid.
The other thing about his again, one should never chant death to anyone.
We're going to say that 500 times so nobody can accuse us of anything.
But the other thing about his death to the IDF, the press is trying to make out this is a death to Israelis, a death to Jews. As someone quite rightly said, I'm going to play a clip in a minute, which is a discussion on the Nick Ferrari show where someone was pushing back against Nick Ferrari. This was a symbolic chant. There was no one there was going to be able to mount a sort of battle against the IDF and kill them. Some are saying because all Israelis have to do military service, it may as well be a damnation of all Jews. Well, let me give you this other.
But not all Jews have to go into the IDF. If you're in Israel,
all Israeli Jews.
There's millions of Jews across the world that are very against what's happening.
No, but hang on. But if by extension what you're saying is because every Israeli has to be in the IDF, therefore to say death to the IDF is death to all Israelis. The IDF was founded out of 3 terrorist groups, 3 terrorist militia. So is the IDF a terrorist organization? Come on, you can't get fast and loose and clever with the statistics. More. Well, the origin story of the country, the IDF and the militia and the IDF, was founded through a number of different extremist terrorist groups that committed terrorist acts against Arabs. So do we by extension say that then? Are we gonna sort of get fast and loose and clever with the semantics of this? He wasn't saying it about Jewish people, and he wasn't saying it about Israelis. He was specifically targeting an army that has been the most brutal, genocidal group of freewheeling, selfie-taking, murderous, just horror stories that have just evolved over the last 20 months. All we've seen is true horror. They've promoted it, they've filmed it, they've broadcast it, they've proudly gone on about it. And even
obsessed with putting on Palestinian women's lingerie over. We don't show these videos, plenty of them out there. We don't put them because I don't want to infect my feed with such horrible videos where they humiliate, where they're dragging people by their feet, tying them up, doing everything you can imagine, just horrific. Absolutely horrific. We don't show them ever to you or on our feed because they're just, I find they're humiliating for the people that it's being done to. But you know, they post that stuff. Still, it is not right to say death to anyone, right? Still. But why are there no conversations about the outrage of the war crimes that we are seeing on a regular basis? Go to Deep Down Dive Instagram account. There's a 17-minute film put up there a couple of days ago on this very subject, on the posting of actual war crimes. So it's fine to be outraged when somebody stands on a stage and says death to anyone, but we want the equivalence. We want the same speed. We want the same passion. We want the same ferocity. We want the same action, taking action. Like, could we take the action and get that baby formula over? Could we take the action and stop having people shot when they're running to get flat? Could somebody, who is the woman that picked up the phone very quickly, could she pick up the phone very quickly about that? She was on the phone immediately. I can't remember her name now. Can we get the phone secretary, picked up? Yeah.
Shakira Al-Bad says, this hysteria over words and chants at a concert is about manufacturing consent for increased restrictions on our freedom of speech and freedom to protest. I can't actually believe we're in a situation where a non-violent to individuals group is going to be prescribed a terrorist organization today. We are watching the slow erosion of all ability. I mean, we're only a nanosecond away from being told to say free Palestine is somehow going to be anti-Semitic. All the usual suspects have come out with their shared outrage of this is anti-Semitism, this is anti, but I will stress once again, you should never say death to anything, anywhere, but he wasn't saying death to all Israelis or death to all Jews. He was targeting, I just want to finish this point. I did see someone somewhere, this is someone else who said this, equating it to, if we'd said way back death to the SS, we wouldn't, there wouldn't have been an outcry. The IDF has committed some of the worst genocidal atrocities in living memory. Well, filmed, yeah, because there's atrocities. I know, but we filmed and seen and witnessed and recorded, and not only recorded but championed and proudly chest thumped and shown to us. I just wish those same people who were calling out this rapper spent the same amount of time giving column inches and their social media space to the atrocities that are filmed. Of course, there are much worse, I'm sure, even right now going on, but we have evidence. There is a warrant out for the arrest of Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant for war crimes, including starvation, murder. I think the other one was torture, but correct me if I'm wrong. So they have warrants out for the International Court of Justice, but somehow in the last 20 months, international law seems to have been wiped off the stage. Nobody seems to care about it anymore. Yeah, whether it's corporations, whether it's corporations that people might work for, whether it is countries that have signed up to it, it's not relevant. It's not mentioned. It's not mentioned. We should be mentioning again that there is a warrant out for these individuals' arrests for war crimes. I think what we need to take encouragement from, parking to the side the mistake of saying death to the IDF, because of course in many regards what that Chant has given is red meat, beautiful red meat for the far right, as you rightly say, to potentially argue for more egregious restrictions, to characterize an entire population, as the front of the Daily Mail has already, as, you know, drug-taking hippie.
That's your
virtue
kids,
signalers.
guys. That's your grandkids. That's you if you're younger here and watching you. They're tarring you all as useless and pointless.
But one of the things to be taken from this is that actually what is encouraging is the sheer size and scale and number and the demographic reach of the number of people in this country and many other countries who opposed the Daily Mail, Daily Telegraph's take, GB News's take on the world. They may well win in a very tilted, fucked up democratic system the next election, but they ain't winning the common vote or the common mind.
So the next generations coming up, they see you. They see you clearly.
And that's what they're threatened
by.
Their
glasses are on and it's really, really clear that you are just going, da-da-da, look over here. Da-da-da, da-da-da, there is more than just your newspaper now. There is more than just your news, like the BBC, who has zero times challenged their Israeli spokespersons that have gone on about the atrocities. So there are other places that people are seeing. Oh, right. Oh, that's what's going on.
I think it's really refreshing that politics has re-entered the popular culture. I think it's really refreshing. I mean, going back to Nick Abbott on LBC last night, like he said, you know, punk bands were spitting on pictures of the Queen and gobbing and vomiting and wiping their asses with flags. He was like, "Can you imagine that now?" I said, "Jesus Christ!" He said, "This is hardly." He said, "This is hardly." I'm just going to show you this brief exchange between Nick Ferrari and a guest on his show.
It's bizarre that we're talking about the Israeli military like it's a persecuted minority group. It's a powerful army committing genocide, and it's not the role of the government, it's not the role of the Israeli government, certainly, to decide the political expression of artists on the BBC.
Yes, but we have laws here that do not allow you to incite violence against a person or persons, and chanting death to someone is obviously crossing the line, is it not?
Not when it's a foreign military currently committing genocide. I mean, in what way could you practically incite violence against the IDF? Is somebody from the field in Glastonbury going to jump in a fighter jet and go and engage Israeli soldiers?
You know as well as I do, Mr. Hanson, laws aren't adjudicated on the likelihood, they're adjudicated on what people actually say or do. And I read you again, the employment of language designed to encourage violence is deemed unlawful. Chanting death to anybody, obviously, crosses that line, no?
I think if somebody had said death to ISIS or death to Putin's army, this argument wouldn't be being made.
Why are you quoting that? Why won't you examine this particular? Why would you support such violence? I mean, it seems for once the political spectrum is pretty united on this, but you think they're all wrong then?
It's interesting because whenever you do find the other example, I mean, I'm going to show another clip now, which incidentally, just interesting to note. This clip from the BBC show, I don't know which one it was, where Streeting was on at the weekend, is now unavailable. I don't know whether the government has sought to have this clip removed, but I managed to screen record it last night. Well done. Check this.
Were revolting, and if I think about the war in Ukraine, I mean, no doubt I want Ukraine to win, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be cheering on the deaths of Russians. I don't think anyone wins from that. I'd also say to the Israeli embassy, get your own house in order. What happened in the West Bank this week by Israeli settler terrorists needs to not only be condemned, it needs to be acted upon. And Israel cannot continue to look the other way while its own people are carrying out unwanted acts of terrorism and violence. They wouldn't tolerate it rightly against their own citizens. Their citizens are doing it to Palestinians, and it's got to.
See, you weren't that impressed with that. I really was, because that's the most outspoken I've seen any of our politicians on what's happening.
And I totally reevaluate what I said, because when I watched it again this morning, I thought, actually, he does call the settlers terrorists, and I haven't heard a single politician go so far.
They are in international law and in Israeli law, they are illegal settlers. And my God, I have made up a file of the videos of what they do, and it would turn your stomach. Most of you have seen The Settlers' brilliant documentary the settlers. And if you haven't, I really, really urge you to watch it, because you'll understand where some of our passion and outrage comes from. So that to me was huge, West Street, in saying that yesterday.
No, and I agree. And I take that back. I think my problem and my frustration is when you know how financially compromised so many of the Labour politicians are by the Israeli lobby group, it's really hard to get on board with what they're saying. So my first instinct is to listen. And as I listen, I'm thinking, where is the exception? Where is the what? But. And actually the fact that he ended with his statement about the Israeli settlers as terrorists, it could speak to why that clip is now no longer available on the Guardian website. And I'd be really interested to see if it's available on the BBC.
That's outrageous if they've now taken that down.
Now, on this point of editing, censorship, control, etc., just to remind everyone, this Wednesday, Channel 4 has picked up the rights to the Gaza Medics documentary.
Channel 4.
That the BBC bottled it cowardly, without any justification, but simply because there was still an ongoing inquiry into the Gaza war zone documentary. So it's going to be on Channel 4 this Wednesday. We're going to be reviewing it, and then straight afterwards, we are also going to be uploading an interview that we've done with a surgeon medic from this country, not a surgeon, doctor from this country, who has himself been a victim of this conflict in a way.
But yes. So please spread the word. We have to get the viewing figures to go ballistic.
They need to go bonkers.
Because the BBC buried it. So please tell all your friends. Let's show that we want to see. We don't want things hidden away. No. We want our eyes wide open. We are awake.
And just briefly, in slightly breaking news, this isn't the charge of supporting a terrorist group. But the Mo Chara, which is the character of the guy on the right, is it the guy on the right or the guy on the left?
Left.
On the left. The police have dropped the charges against him for the kill your MP statements. I think it now falls outside of the time limit for prosecution. So he's clear of that. And his defense at the moment regarding the flag on the stages, so much stuff thrown on the stage, he hasn't got a fucking clue what's there. He'd have to be a member of Mensa to know everything. I mean, but I tell you the thing.
Can I just remind people of something? Do you remember when that group of Israelis went to, where was it? It was Holland, wasn't it?
Yes.
And they were going up and down the escalator, deaf to burn the villages.
Oh, yes.
There are no schools left.
That's a good reminder.
Because we burn all the schools. Over and over again. Was there outrage about what they were saying?
Oh, that's a really good point.
Whilst they were saying it, it was actually happening in Gaza.
No, that's a really good point, because their chant was death to all Arabs.
What about there's no schools for you now, you Arab children, because
if we're going to get our knickers in the twist about Rapper, then why is it all those football supporters, some of whom are IDF members, are still running around the world, still going to football
They did
matches?
all the front pages when they were thinking that it was the attack was from Palestinian peace marchers, and then it all went quiet, didn't it? When we actually saw the videos of them screaming death to Arabs, burn all the schools. You've got no schools, you've got no schools. Arabs have got no schools because we burnt them to the ground.
Didn't see the Telegraph homing in on that.
Thank you.
No, didn't see the Daily Mail homing in on that.
Thank you.
No, interesting.
What happened? Netanyahu sent a plane to get them all on the plane and back to Israel evacuated them before they could get charged.
Because they're cowards.
They're
cowards.
And
just to say,
another lack of equivalence.
The British press, you are no good anymore. You are not fit for purpose. You are so obviously manipulative. You're speaking to a rarefied couple of people like my grandparents who are kind of, unfortunately, fewer and fewer. You don't want to
look above the parapet.
Little exceptionalism. Okay, we're going to have to really go and rattle through this next one quickly because we've only got 5 minutes. No,
we haven't.
No, we have. We've got to leave at 11. Yeah. So 5-10 minutes on this. So the wedding of the year. We touched upon it on Saturday morning, but we've got some other images here of the £50 million wedding, which just feels such a gross contrast to what's going on in the world.
That's what I wanted to say. I just thought it was so disgusting to just like flash that. Now, listen, I'm not one of these that says, "Oh, you're having a good time and everyone else is having a horrible time." I'm not. It's just the world is so different. I have to say it to myself when I feel guilty when I step into my garden. I've got a lovely garden, or when I've got a nice husband, or I've got fridge with food in, and I have to constantly say, listen, we're all different. We're all, you know, we just do the, but that kind of 50 million, if that's true, and to take over Venice in the way that they did and to stomp through
grotesque.
it, I just found it grotesque.
Lucy Williams.
And I don't know what I think about this, but Queen Rania has had a lot of kick in, hasn't she? She's had a bit of a kick in for going. Now, Queen Rania is King Abdullah's wife. King Abdullah is the king of Jordan, and she's Palestinian. And her being glammed up at the wedding of something of such obscene wealth, for what purpose? You know, I mean, was this about diplomatic relations? Was this about, personally, I don't think she needs to be at the wedding. I'm not saying,
hang on, she was hobnobbing with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, not the right people. It sends out totally the wrong. I think it's an absolute travesty.
I really hate being judgy. I really do, because you never know what's going on in people's lives. But you don't know. They could be trying to, she might be doing something diplomatic, schmoozing them for something else. But just the optics on it, I think, are just a bit devastating for people, because whatever the truth may be, it looks like you don't care.
Yeah,
and she
totally,
will care. She's Palestinian. So I just think it was really unwise to go, because I think already within the movement of humanitarians against the genocide, there's already so much bad feeling towards Jordan
and they have
Egypt,
a population that is way against, you know, so against their sort of placating ways.
To be hobnobbing it with many of whom are very, very, very pro-Israel. I doubt if there was a single person on that boat that said a damn thing. Oprah Winfrey. I mean, come on. For the people, I don't know, just the older I get, I have no interest. I have no interest in this kind of...
There's Queen Rania.
You know, I swear to God, if I got offered my own private jet and 50,000 to spend on my outfit with an enormous private villa, I would not one fibre of my being would actually want to go. I'd go, oh God, no thanks. Straight away. It's obscene.
But something is happening for me, which the true extent of the horror that's going on is removing the allure of so many things. I mean, not even the allure, because there's no allure to this, but even having a feeling about it, it feels so out of step with the immediate. I mean, I contacted Rachel, your yoga teacher, yesterday, and I said, I want to live in a commune with you guys, and I want you to make me stretch my body. I mean, I want us all to cook together. I mean, I literally don't see it. I don't understand it. And when I see, for the first time ever, I went to Glastonbury back in '91. And I've always been one of those kind of po-face, oh yeah, what? I felt such joy in the unity of principally a generational, not a middle class. If this middle class thing, it's like keep slagging the middle classes. It's just a joke.
They're the people that buy your bloody papers, you idiots.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's the upper classes by the fucking Tory graph. But hanging out just with people who are like-minded, and lots of people who couldn't afford to go to Glastonbury really enjoyed it on TV, the bits that they got to see. I don't know. I just thought that's where community lies. That's where satisfaction and a shared. That's why I love our Irish community that follows us. There's a sense of almost in a shared grief.
Yeah.
There's a connection.
Solidarity means standing shoulder to shoulder with other people who are against something that might not directly affect them. It doesn't have to be just, oh, is this going to be my bank account? Is this going to be, and that is a beautiful thing. And actually the gratitude for that helps you want less. You know, we live in a world where we're constantly being told we should want more. I love this message from Victoria Moore. I'm just happy to be able to have my washing to dry and grow some veg. These people are effing obscene. Would you be any one of them? I truly wouldn't.
Well, look, Reese says Leonardo DiCaprio being there was a real hilarity, given how much he preaches about environmental activism more than a lot of actors, but is there at a moment's notice and hiding his face.
Oh, Reese, he was so hiding,
It was
wasn't he?
so hiding.
It was so obvious.
I can't remember. I had
Have
the, oh, here
some.
it is. I had the image from yesterday. There you go.
Are there not enough parties
Good God.
for you to go to? Could you only go to this? Where is your... Oh, again, I don't want to... I sound judgy. I don't want to be judgy, but I do find it such a contradiction. It's just so weird. It's so weird. But anyway.
Cheerio, Drizzle. You found a viper's nest, so I've told you to fuck off. Okay, well, let's move on. We're going to save the having babies for tomorrow because I think this is really important. The education minister has said she's really concerned about the future of our country unless more young people don't have babies. They need to have babies. And basically, she's saying you need to have more babies so that more people can pay tax and more people can keep this system running and running and running.
How are we going to pay for them?
How are we going to pay?
Are you going to make heating cheaper?
So
Are
I
you going to
think we
make
should talk about that.
childcare? What about childcare? We're going to get good childcare.
Yeah.
What about all the people that are living in bloody cesspits of council homes because you don't get...
Well, and interestingly, someone rang in.
What if?
A young woman rang in this morning and said, I hate this fucking pressure that everyone puts on us. She said, you know what? We're actually a generation, me and my partner have decided not to have children because we're more economically responsible than any other generation of baby boomers that came before us. We know we can't afford it, yet we're being told to so that the government can turn our child into a cash register.
And then the papers can go, all these people having kids and not being able to afford them.
Exactly. So what we might do is, because what we do on a Sunday show on a Monday night is we don't do the news, but we do food. But I might do some topics. Maybe come to the Sunday show tonight at 8 o'clock, and we can talk about this a little bit more. It's live, and we can talk about the having babies.
I definitely think we should do it a bit in the garden.
Yeah, if the Wi-Fi reaches, let's do it. Yeah.
So anyway, I'll see you at 8.
Thanks,
to our members. I am going to... Do you know what I'm going to do?
£500,000 per baby, and we'll think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read a book.
Nice.
For a big chunk of the day today, I am stepping out and I'm going to read a book.
Good for you.
And so that I'm ready, willing and able to
at 8 o'clock.
Have fun with you at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, last week's was lovely.
Please subscribe to the channel. As we always say, it really, really helps us out. And more importantly, even than subscribing to the channel, really, really, because don't forget, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. Just hit, is you sharing videos of what we are saying about what is actually bloody going on in Gaza.
And just hearing an alternate perspective than the mainstream. Look, I've got to the point now where I think most people aren't reading the mainstream media. So in some regards, there's hope. There's hope. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Follow Breaking Points. It's a YouTube channel. They're excellent. Excellent for news.
And we'll see you at 8, all of you members. Take care, guys. Have a good day.